Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at noon.
Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. We start this afternoon with breaking news. Earlier this morning, a semi-truck hauling fertilizer collided with a pickup truck just northeast of Castleton. The impact caused both trucks to go up in flames. The semi-truck, driven by a 73-year-old man, was heading westbound, and the pickup truck, going southbound, was driven by a 15-year-old going to school. The intersection where both vehicles collided didn't have a stop sign. A sergeant with the Cass County Sheriff's Department said another employer with the same fertilizer company took over, pulling the kid out of the car. The sergeant said that employer saved the kid's life.
But for those instincts to kick in the way that they did, so fortunate in this case. We obviously have a very, very good outcome considering what it could have been.
Both people involved in the crash were sent to a metro area hospital with unknown injuries. The Cass County Sheriff's Department is investigating the crash. And the airman that was found dead on the Grand Forks Air Force Base in his dorm room has been identified. Christian Clark was a high-frequency global communication system operations technician with the 319th Communication Squadron. Clark, a Monroe, Georgia native, joined the Air Force in January of 2016. He came to the Grand Forks base in June of that year. The cause of his death is under investigation. We're having a windy and a little chilly start to our Wednesday afternoon, but things are supposed to be heating up. Let's check in with meteorologist Lisa Green to see how the rest of our hump day is looking. Lisa?
Well, I think it depends on where you are. Some of us warming up in the Southern Valley, Northern Valley, it's going to be a little more of a struggle to heat up here today. So here's a look at our radar right now. We've got some thunderstorms still ongoing in the valley. You can see them stretching from the Badette, Red Lake area down through just north of Fargo, and a couple of cells popping up in the Stutsman County area too. But just up the road on I-29 around the Argusville region, you can see some lightning there and a darker or a thunderstorm ongoing there, and some dark clouds as we look north from Fargo. And then heading up toward Norman County, another little thunderstorm, and then some showers affecting other places along that line, stretching up toward Red Lake. And around the War Road area, a couple of showers there too. So not quite done with these isolated showers and thunder showers just yet. Checking out your temperatures, we're making our way to the 70s at 73 degrees in Fergus Falls, 66 in Fargo, and a lot cooler up to the north. Gradually we'll see those numbers rise, and in the Southern Valley, some of us getting into those low 80s for your highs today. In the Northern Valley, it's going to be more of a struggle. Fargo, if we can get some sun, we'll see 82. Well, more details on that and a look at the rest of the week too coming up.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. And a man is being treated for life-threatening injuries after crashing his motorcycle on I-94 overnight. The Minnesota State Patrol says 38-year-old Jeremy Johnson of Rothsay lost control of his bike just before midnight near Fergus Falls. Johnson left the highway and was thrown from the motorcycle. He's being treated at a Fargo hospital. Troopers say alcohol was a factor in the crash. A 19-year-old man is accused of murder in the shooting of a 23-year-old man at a North Minneapolis convenience store. Demario Davis was charged with second-degree murder in the fatal shooting of 23-year-old Samuel Abram Yeager, and also charged with being a felon in possession of a gun. According to charges filed in the case, two young men walked into the Emerson Food Market at about 9:30 a.m. on Sunday. Davis and 18-year-old Jamaria Sheaf of Minneapolis entered the store a short time later. The two groups had a discussion. Davis and Sheaf left the store. Records say they returned to the store and Sheaf started punching one of the men inside. Then Davis shot and killed Abram Yeager. It must have been quite the scare for a Moorhead resident when a bullet came through his apartment wall. Officials say a neighbor's gun had accidentally discharged just after 9 last night in the 3000 block of 18th Street South. No one was hurt, but charges are possible. Now to the potential resignation of the embattled Archbishop of Washington, D.C. Top U.S. officials from the Catholic Church now heading to the Vatican for a key meeting with Pope Francis. Cardinal Wuerl's resignation letter has been on Pope Francis's desk for almost 3 years, submitted as a matter of course when Wuerl turned 75. But the sex abuse scandal ensnaring Wuerl and the U.S. Catholic Church may speed up his removal from the post. NBC's Ann Thompson reports.
This morning, the clearest indication yet embattled Washington Cardinal Donald Wuerl may soon step down. In a one-page letter to the Archdiocese priest, Wuerl says he will soon go to Rome to speak directly to Pope Francis about his possible resignation. Writing, the issue is how to bring a new level of healing to survivors who have personally suffered so much, and to the faithful who have also been wounded by the shame of these terrible actions and have questions about necessary leadership. A deacon who refuses to take part in Mass with Wuerl any longer is calling on him to resign.
Fostering a genuine sense of healing requires, among other things, accountability. And in the service of accountability, I think the way forward is for Cardinal Wuerl to relinquish his position.
Wuerl has been under attack since that scathing Pennsylvania grand jury report detailing 70 years of child sexual abuse by priests. The report criticized Wuerl's handling of predatory priests when he was Bishop of Pittsburgh, saying he returned one abuser to ministry and approved financial support for another. Wuerl disputes the grand jury's findings and says he acted with diligence and concern for the victims.
I don't really want him to resign. I want the Pope to fire him. I think the Pope should fire every bishop that was part of that report.
That anger growing louder.
Shame on you.
Earlier this month, during a Sunday Mass, a protester interrupted Wuerl and walked out.
I ask your prayers for me, for forgiveness in any of my errors of judgment, for any of my inadequacies.
Dozens of Catholic school teachers also boycotted the Cardinal's back-to-school Mass. A Pittsburgh area high school with his name defaced. Wuerl's name later removed at his request. And those aren't the only problems. Wuerl's Washington predecessor, Archbishop Theodore McCarrick, resigned from the College of Cardinals in disgrace, accused of molesting teenagers and seminarians. Those scandals will get Pope Francis' attention tomorrow as he meets with the leadership of the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops to discuss the crisis.
The bishops are asking the Vatican to consider working with a national group of lay people to figure out how Theodore McCarrick could become a cardinal despite his alleged history of abuse. As for Cardinal Wuerl, his fate rests with one person and one person only, Pope Francis. Apple is expected to announce 3 new iPhones today. That tops our look at consumer news. The much anticipated yearly event is here. iPhone's latest and greatest devices will be unveiled later today. Rumors have been swirling for weeks about just what is coming next for Apple's iPhones. The tech giant may not revolutionize the hardware in its lineup this fall, but the pricing could see some changes. Apple could unveil as many as 3 new phones with the possibility of a low-cost version of the revolutionary iPhone 10. Coming up at noon, nearly 300,000 children are affected by juvenile arthritis. We'll be talking with an expert about the symptoms you can be on the lookout for. But next, weather to plan your day.